And sometimes something that I've been trying to become better at as a leader in so many capacities, whether it's a leader of different groups of young men, different groups of older men, or the leader of my household, is how do I, yes, encourage these people who look to me for leadership, and at the same time, while looking to encourage them and build them up, not also coddle them and make them think that everything that they do that is out of line with what I know they should be better with and more capable of. How do I not coddle them and allow them to get away with acting out of their best interest, regressing into a lesser form of themselves, and to be able to recognize it within me? I've had a lot of conversations recently with my wife where I have to call out some stuff that she's doing, and I find myself having regressed, and then I have to take that time where I step away and say, dang it, Devontae, maybe you were saying certain things well, but you let yourself go too far. Mm-hmm. And I've literally had to remove myself from the room for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, go to God, say, God, I failed right here. I said these things that were true, but I said them with such vitriol and anger and lack of your presence within it. That was not a good representation of your character. And then it's not like, for me, I don't just talk to God about this. You know, when I go back to my wife, I say, honey, I want you to know that the things that I said, I was not wrong with them, and I didn't lie about them because these were true, but I did not reflect God's presence within my behavior and the way that I talk to you. And I'm sorry about that. And I am going to work on communicating it better, because I should have done that better if I have the Holy Spirit in me. Mm-hmm. And I had to eat that, to the wife, and her being the amazing woman that she is, without hesitation, she said, I forgive you. I'm sorry about what I did as well. And for me, that just is such a reassuring thing, but it only comes when the two people know, okay, I need to take a step away. I need to go to God. I need to own up my piece of it, right? And then you should be able to know, okay, if I own these pieces, the godly manner for them to respond is in this way. And doing that with her, and also doing that with my students that I lead as well. I'm leading, 6th grade boys, and you got to call them to account. They want to come in, they want to have fun, they just want to party and whatnot. And you got to say, hey guys, I want to have fun with you. I want you to have fun with each other. But you're not just going to sit here and be disrespecting everybody, telling jokes about people's moms, about each other's sexuality, about each other's race, and all these things. And if you do that, I'm telling you right now, you got in these certain spaces, depending on the space, I change up with the allowance of it. But depending on how aggressive the offense, I may kick a student out right then and there and tell them, unless you want to get your act together, do not come back. I love you and I want what's best for you, but not at the sake of costing another person who wants to be here, who is respecting the others in here. I don't love you enough to put you above this other student that wants to be here more than you. Right. And so I'm working on holding the people I care about to account more, because I think that the propensity is to overlook certain poor behaviors, not only with others, but within yourself. And there is a correct way to call out your own poor behaviors, to call out others' behaviors in a way that lets them know that you love them so much you're willing to let them know what you're doing wrong, but you're not condemning them. And that's been my challenge that I've been faced with recently.
So that's actually right now with me and my roommates. We have this really big thing about holding each other accountable. And we actually need that a lot. And the thing is, with humans, it's easier to see what everybody else doing wrong. It's harder to look at what you're doing wrong yourself. So holding each other accountable, one another accountable, is, I believe, is very big, and I believe it's something that we all need within a structure, because if we don't have nobody in the structure that's gonna hold us accountable for what we doing, you just, sometimes you can walk around on your high horse and don't realize what's going on down here. And sometimes you got to get knocked down back to the reality, like, hey, you on your high horse, but this is what's going on. You telling me that I'm doing this, so we got to reflect on each other, and it's good to speak like that. That's the only thing that I can actually speak on in that, is when it comes to accountability, everybody should be able to accept accountability, whether they want to accept it at that moment or not. But to self-reflect, as you did with your wife, that's godly in itself. You know what I mean?
Thank you, brother.
Yes, it is. That's godly in itself, to actually look to what you did and realize that you made a mistake, that you spoke out of emotion, which is a thing that us men really need to work on a lot, because we need more emotionally intelligent men. This is what we need to start building, to start to understand our counterparts, because we don't know how to express our emotions like that. That's why we actually lash out with this testosterone, because we weren't ever really taught that, to how to deal with your emotions. It's taught to not show emotions. They tell you don't show emotion, but they don't tell you how to start dealing with these emotions. They don't tell you, okay, if you're feeling like this, you need to sit inside that emotion at that moment, at that time, and find out, why am I feeling like this? You know what I mean? And that's how you get better. Once you start, like how you track that, you notice that, boom, okay, I reacted like this. What made me react like this at this moment, at this time? What was I thinking, and what was that direct feeling that I felt when I spoke like that? And then you go in it. And when you start to shit in it, you start to look at the times when you felt outside of that situation. You're going to look at other times that you felt this same feeling. And like I was just telling one of my roommates, like, we have all these layers. All of us do. All of us do. But when you start to sit inside that emotion that you felt at that time, you start to pull things back, and then guess what? You uncover something that's really small. And you like, yo, this little thing has been disturbing me all these years. You know what I mean? That's what I look at when I look at self-healing, self-work, when you doing the healing, when you judging yourself unbiasedly. When you start to realize that everything around you is for you to learn yourself. We looking at these external things and the problem that's coming, but we don't realize that we are creating it, that it's on our inside. So like when I look at things, it's like, yo, we need to find out, we need to become more emotionally intelligent. We need to start teaching men that it's learn about your emotions, sit inside your emotions, to understand them. That way, when it rise up, you don't lash out, because you're not used to nobody holding you accountable. For one, a lot of us not used to our women holding us accountable, especially when you got a strong queen that's gonna call you really out on it. Like, yo, dude, what you got going on? You got different type of women, you know what I mean? So once we start to heal on that level, not to start feeling like we need to just make all this money so we can make them do whatever we want for us. No, we need real counterparts. You know, someone who complements our weaknesses. You know what I mean? She complements my weakness, I compliment her weaknesses. You know what I mean?